Hi everybody, hi every spirit, welcome very much to my YouTube channel. Esoteric Cloud Surfer here, today with a guest, it's Madame Asita, my bad, and we are doing a vice versa interview. So first, let me introduce Madame Asita. Hi, welcome to the channel. Say hi to everybody
Hi.
watching right now. Everybody
Hi,
say hi
everyone.
to Asita too, and we'll do a vice versa interview. And I will introduce everybody that is not familiar to the format, right? So, as the name suggests, it's a vice versa interview. So, it will be an interview that goes both ways. I will interview my guest, and my guest will interview me as well. All right, guys? Remember to leave a like in the channel. Remember to leave a comment as well. Subscribe, and also, Madam Asita, you also have a YouTube channel, right? You want people to go there and leave a like and subscribe?
Yes. Yes, I
For
have a
sure.
YouTube channel. It's the same as my name.
Yeah, and the link is in the description
The
down
link is
below.
below.
So
Yes.
very easy to go there and check it out. And also check my links and my beautiful partner Daria's links in the description down below as well. Super quick. And thank you for watching, everybody that is right now. Thank you very much, Madame Asita, for being here. Without
Thank you for
you, this
having
interview
me.
couldn't be possible. So welcome
Thank you
everybody.
so much.
Welcome to the channel. Welcome everybody watching. Welcome Madame Asita in itself. And first, then everything. Happy Mercury Day for everybody. Day where we are paying more attention to
Ooh.
our minds, how we think, how we
Mm,
analyze the world, how we communicate in a more logical and realistic way, right? And it's in a more astrological way that I will start. I have a couple questions for Madame, and Madame has questions for me. I hope, right? That's the plan,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And the first question will work as well as a little introduction to yourself as well, to me, to the people watching right now, which is which are your big three alignments, your sun, moon, and rising, and how is to be with these alignments, and if you have, share some advice about your own
Yes.
alignments. Go on.
Well, my chart is interesting because I only have two major stellium, and is my sun and my rising are both in Sagittarius. So I have a big
Okay.
stellium in Sagittarius, and then I have another big stellium in Capricorn right next to it. And that's where
Oh
my
yeah.
moon is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charged up.
So that's pretty much my chart right there.
Yeah. Okay. So your sun
Yeah.
is in Sag, right?
Yes.
Moon in Capricorn and
Moon in
rising also in
Capricorn.
Sagittarius, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's
So
all
with
about
me, a lot of people they just what you see is what you get, like
yeah.
people try to like figure out what is behind it, and the only thing that they see is like, oh, she's a workaholic.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
that because it's all about balancing that expansion with actually something that comes from it and it's realistic and it can count on it, right?
Mm,
So,
yeah.
you got any advice to any people that have like a stellium in Sag, a stellium in Earth, whatever?
Mm,
If you imagine, sometimes you think about that and you be like, damn, this thought really helped me. If you have that,
yeah.
share with people right
For
now.
me, it's been really difficult my whole life, honestly.
That's valid.
It's
Okay.
yeah, it's like balancing yourself versus the outside world, because having
True.
so much energy in one spot, you can become very biased. And sometimes I need to step outside of myself. And one thing
Yeah.
that helped to me was Dolo, Flight Boss. He
Yeah.
gave me a reading,
Uriel.
a House Lord reading.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. House Lords. Yeah.
yeah, so figuring out the House Lords is pretty much the only way that you can really master that.
Yeah. True.
Because if not, you're just going to be biased your whole life.
Yeah, especially because you have that Sagittarius energy, which is mutable, so you can see
Mm,
yourself or your own image even in others people's opinions. You think that that person thinks like
yeah.
you because you that mutability, right? And I can understand you
Yeah.
because I also have a stellium in Aquarius, right? So that part of going out into the world, not like physically, but like trying to figure out what the world is going through and how they think and how they go through stuff.
Mm,
It helps a lot because you can be your own enemy. If you have a stellium, basically, you are your own enemy. You can't blame it on the stars, you can't blame it on the government, nothing.
yeah.
It's you that are so fixed, even if it's not in the fixed sign. I have in the fixed sign, but it doesn't need to
Yeah.
be because we have so much energy in the same place, but by default, it's heavier and it's more fixed, right?
Mm.
So
I
it
have a
really helps. Yeah.
question for you.
Go ahead. It's an
So,
official question. It's the first
yes.
one.
Well, not
Let's
really. It's
go.
one that I thought when
Ah,
we're
okay.
talking right
Okay.
now.
No
So,
problem.
since you have a stellium too, do you
Yeah.
feel like that's a little bit karmic or like to do
For
with your
sure.
past life? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
And with
So
your stellium, how do you feel like it's like, how do you relate to that karma?
okay. So first, in a general level, a
Mm,
stellium means that you are paying attention to a lot of things in the same way. So basically, you
yeah.
are bringing different things, like my Mercury, my Sun. They are different things, and I'm bringing them together. I'm bringing them to the same point, the same perspective, the same feelings,
Hmm.
whatever. So that means that I was lacking something in that area in my past life or in earlier in life. Okay,
Yeah.
so and that's not good or bad. Okay, it's just what it is, because when we say lacking, people might think, oh, that's bad, you was lacking something. No, maybe it
Yeah.
was actually good, and I just need to expand more in that specific area. But the stellium always means that you're paying too much attention, either to bring something new to your spiritual awareness or to get out of something, because in the past life, if you were too much into something, now you need an extreme amount of energy of something
To get
else
out.
to get out. Yeah, or to be an
Yeah.
example, to be a light, to show you, right? Then
That makes sense.
personally, hi everybody, welcome to the stream. Personally, my stellium is in the fifth house, and it's Aquarius, right?
Well,
So it's about balance, because I have that
yeah.
Libra rising as well, right? Oh yes, yeah, I usually answer this question myself to people that don't know. I have an Aquarius Sun, Taurus Moon, and Libra rising. All right, Madame Asita have Sag Sun, Sag rising, and Capricorn. Also, you both have Earth moons. Yeah, true,
Yeah.
nice. And yeah, my Aquarius
You have a
stellium is
lot
in
of
the fifth
fixed
house.
energy.
Yes, I'm a very fixed person, but my
Yeah.
North Node is in Virgo, so I'm here to learn about mutability, right? Be
Mm,
fixed, because Earth it's more fixed, more consistent, more steady, but in a mutable way. So basically, I just be myself, but more mutable, right? And my stellium actually plays a big role in that, because it's in the fifth house, so it's about my image, gaining attention
your
from what?
Leo
From,
house.
yeah, the Leo house. Yeah, where is my Aquarius and my Sun? So it's that opposition, that Saturn Sun connection, father and son. The son wants to
Mm,
make the father proud, but the father is very non-emotional, non-open to that contact. But the father is proud but doesn't show it. Is that type of relationship, So I have to validate myself, basically, right? And that can be a trap sometimes, because I might be on the wrong path or creating the wrong content, for an example, but because the world will not validate myself, because that's Aquarius, uniqueness, rebellion. Sometimes people think that I'm right, but
yeah.
they won't say it because they feel too prideful, because it's in my fifth house and they want me to validate them or whatever. So because I'm always validating myself, I might even be unaware to external examples or external suggestions to make me not improve my content, but make it more bright, make it more relatable, make it more enjoyable,
Mm,
because
make
I
it
know I have.
different.
Okay. Okay, hold on. No, because I think it's better. Thank you very much. Because it's already
Yay.
different, but it's like too harsh sometimes. But I don't want to be harsh. I'm not like, I'm gonna be harsh. I'm gonna punish this person. It's just not just non-emotional, or too direct, or just too logical. So I really have to
Yeah.
use all of that, but in a more Leo way, in a more relatable, more light, more inspiring, more spiritual way as well. So Yeah, it's about that. It's a lot. If you have a stellium, by the way, you have to go through it. There is no way around it. You can't escape it.
Mm,
You have to go through it. And you even
yes.
said it was hard, and it is hard, but you will
Yeah.
have types of rewards that no one else will have, right? Because how do we achieve success in this life? Work, consistency, determination, and the stellium is that spiritually. You spend so much time in one space that you created a lot of awareness there. So you're already consistent. You're already working for a specific goal. You just gotta make it down here, basically, right?
Yeah. And also, you have a lot of Venus energy. And
Mhm.
then with the Venus and like the Aquarius, I don't know how that kind of meshes, because I'm sure that, like, even for like Soul Group, we have a lot of eccentric sides of ourselves that we
Yes.
try to relate to other people.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes the
sometimes
wrong
just
people.
that whole nature, like
Yeah.
some things aren't relatable.
Hmm.
But how do we, I mean, that's the whole premise of life, is like us
Yeah.
being here trying to connect to other people.
Yeah. True. And actually,
So
let me
how
say you.
can we,
Yeah.
you know
Okay. First, because you have a Capricorn moon, but you already reached that point, you already made progress with your life, understanding that it's about connect. Capricorn can be too closed and too private. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
you already you're already a bit of on
This
a
is
higher
really
octave
hard
there.
for Capricorn moon.
Yeah, I know that my Taurus moon kind of relates, but as you were saying, that
Yeah.
Venus element really makes it easier. Hi, Stephen, welcome to
Hmm.
the stream as well. And the thing is, this actually connects with my stellium in the fifth house because I have so much unique and eccentric sides. Even my Venus is also in
Yeah.
Aquarius, and I have to make it more relatable. My rising is Libra, my moon is ruled by Taurus, my Mars is in Libra as well. So I really have to
Mm,
make it relatable, and not only relatable, I have to make sure that I communicate in a way that others understand. It's not like, oh, I
yes.
express my
Yeah.
thing, and if they get it, they get it. No, that will not happen. Or it will, but
Yeah.
it will be like very slow progress or misunderstandings. People don't get my point because I have to make it relatable. It's my responsibility. Aquarius, Saturn, fifth house. It's my responsibility to make my ideas relatable, right? And I think
Hmm.
that you were connecting that to soul group or more spiritual people. Like,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
it's very important to be relatable, but most people think of relatability as vulnerability or, oh my god, same. It's not that. It's actually being more realistic, right? It's
Mm,
actually communicating your unique points in a way that I can understand it, but I can't be you, you can't be me. So how can we relate through reality? Because
yeah.
you and me can
Through
look at
what
the
we
same
both
tree.
experience. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And
Mm,
that's the key points. Like you and I, we can look at the same tree, at the same object.
yeah.
So you have to do that with your uniqueness, make it in a way so we can look at it in similar ways, right?
Yeah.
And then this goes into more in-depth ways because you got your own way to do it, I got my own way to do it, but I'm sure that's the right way to do it because the best way to be is to be your goddamn self. You better believe it,
Mm,
you know
period.
for sure. And yeah, I just want to finish
That's a
because
very good point. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm really glad you brought that to our awareness because it's really, I think, I don't want to say lacking. That's like overstatement, but because I'm not an English native speaker, sometimes I lack the vocabulary to express everything. So I have to
Yeah.
justify me
Me
using
neither.
stronger words. You neither? Oh, I thought you were.
Yeah.
But I have to justify me using words that mean big emotional states, but I'm not referring to that big emotional state. You know what I'm saying? But the
Mm,
spirit, not the spiritual, but the conscious community, or the woke community, they lack that, which is that sense of reality. They'd be like, oh,
yes.
this and that, and it's so much out of the world.
Yeah.
It's out of your daily lives, and astrology is not that. Spirituality is not
Yes.
that. You
The
know?
spiritual community is focused looking up and never looks right in front of them,
Yeah,
or, what's, present. And that's where our
yeah,
power is, in the present
exactly,
moment, because
infinitely.
focusing too much on what happened already, you have no control focusing too much on the future, you also don't have control
Have
over the
control.
future.
Yeah, I think I do sometimes. Aquarius tell him right, but no, it's not
Mm,
true. I mean, you have, because your future starts now. Your future is now. So if you start
mm,
now, or you start planting some seeds or something, you can impact
yeah.
your future for sure, right? And astrology actually plays a big role in that, because if you know where you are right now, you will not end in a random location. You can choose your
Yes.
location. You can choose your path. It's actually reminding me of tarot, a card in tarot which is the Chariot, right?
Yeah.
And I have this tarot deck, which is the Celestial deck, which has tarot combined with astrology, which is really cool,
Mm,
right? And the Chariot in my deck is Cancer, creating new feelings, creating new expansions, because Jupiter is exalted. And when that card
yes.
comes out, I usually say that you are creating new vehicles and new roads and new destinations, because that's that Jupiter. And I'm sure you know about that with your Sag stellium. It's about
Yeah.
that expansion, that traveling. You don't like the space you are right now, you create a new space and then you go
Hmm.
there, right?
Traveling
And
mentally. Yeah.
through. And just to wrap up real quick, you were talking about how the spiritual community looks up and out of reality, and the great example is how they see astral projection. Oh, you go and meet the six-dimensional beings. No, we are doing this right now,
Yeah.
right? You have a thought and you fulfill that thought. You just astral traveled and astral projected, and
Yes.
you can be way more relatable in that way when you present a spiritual concept in a way. Oh, you doing right now. And you were talking about how more eccentric people can relate their stuff. Just like, bro, I just did it.
Yeah.
I'm being that eccentric. I'm relating that to you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So now it's my time to pose you a question. All right. So my question to you is, what inspired you to start making YouTube videos? Like we said, Madam Asita has her own YouTube channel. Is in the links down below. You can check that out after the stream,
Yay!
guys. After the stream, keep watching right now. So, what inspired you to make
Don't leave
videos?
yet.
Yeah, don't leave a like though.
Um, well, I was making videos as marketing for other people, like hairstylists and other small businesses. And I thought, you have to plant the seeds where you are and the things that you're
Yeah,
interested in instead of just focusing already on what's already manifested, like the money that you can get from something. You have to put your
yeah,
energy where in the things that you are into. Like if you like basketball, why would you go watch tennis every day?
yeah. True.
So that's why I started making videos.
Yeah, okay. Because you
Yeah.
already do. It was work, or it was more like a side thing for you making those
It was a
videos.
side thing for
Yeah.
me, and I was doing it for just spreading myself way too thin and like trying to
Okay.
do this here, trying to blog here, trying to write this, and now I'm just focused on one thing, and that's just,
Which is you.
making videos for now.
Yeah, your own perspective. So you were doing that for others, and now you are doing that for
Yes,
yourself. That's a
for my
that's
own
a great
perspective.
yeah.
Yeah.
That brings spirituality and reality together in a. That's a great example. You know, you were using your energies. You were using your chart for somebody else, literally, and now you are using it for
Hmm.
yourself, literally, right?
Yeah.
So
And I've
that's
had,
great.
for me, work, I have a Capricorn stellium, Capricorn moon. For
Yeah,
me, work is
true.
not been difficult and it's not hard to be hardworking and do well for others.
Yeah,
But why not do that for myself and put
yeah,
my energy back into me that,
true.
create my own little planetary system?
Yeah, because yeah, Capricorns can work a lot without having the right purpose, the opposition, the
Mm,
Cancer, cardinal water, right? So you just did that. You steered that ability to work really hard into the right or a more righteous purpose. That's actually great advice for anybody out there that as their own job. You gotta steer that into something that it's more yours,
yeah.
especially right now, Leo season. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have something that it's yours, or it's your image, it's your business, you know what I'm saying, you will feel weird right now. You're working so much for what? It's got to be for you, for your perspectives, for a place where you can
Yeah.
call really yours, not just physically, right? Because most actually, I have a video about this. I don't know if it's already published, but it's about you are not your job, right? which is most people you go like, oh, how are you? And you're like, oh, I'm Madame Asita and I work here. And most people just, that's their identity, and it's not. You are
That's
not
how
that.
people would
You
just
know?
talk to me. They wouldn't even ask me
Yeah,
anything about myself. They would just be, "Oh, where do you work?" Because I lived
yeah,
in DC, and that's all people care about.
yeah. It's that status, right? It's that
Yeah.
status,
And then that's how they judge you, and they put you in a
bro. I hate
category,
that.
and then you're not
Yeah,
able to leave that category ever.
bro. And that makes no sense because those persons, those people, I think it's people, they are actually not being themselves. They are working so much for something that it's like I was saying, it's not yours. It doesn't belong to them.
Yes.
It's not their identity, right?
It's a
So
one-way relationship.
yeah, it's like it's like a religion, you know. Oh, you pray that much. Oh, you so holy, my God. Oh, shit. But you have a question for me right now, or what?
Yes.
Go ahead
So,
then. Hi, everybody in the chat.
so for
Welcome, welcome.
me, okay, so I have a question about gaming
Go ahead.
because I
I
I'm
like
not a
that.
gamer.
No,
I'm
you
not a
should
gamer,
be.
and
Gaming is healthy,
I see how much like world building, like so much
yeah,
esotericism is in gaming and like
bro.
creating
Huge,
pathways in the mind.
yeah.
And I want to just see your perspective because I'm completely ignorant to a lot of it.
Go
But
ahead,
I
go
see,
ahead.
like, I go on, there's some pages that I go to, like, wiki fan page of blah, blah, blah
Yeah,
game.
of
And
something else.
and
Yeah,
then
I
you
know.
see all the characters and you
Yeah.
see all of the meanings behind everything. Like, I just want to
True.
see your
All the
perspective.
stories, yeah. Okay. So you want my
Yeah.
perspective in general or about a specific franchise?
Kind of in general, and like how you can relate that in the subconscious, like
Okay.
building the mind type of thing
So
with gaming.
it's easier if if I pick a specific franchise, but
Yeah,
I can
any
give I
doesn't
can
matter.
give various examples.
Your favorite.
So my favorite is Pokemon actually because it's very esoterical but also very realistic, right? And we were talking about that earlier in the stream, how to make something spiritual more relatable, aka more real, right? So, but in general,
Mhm.
like you were saying there is a lot of esoteric knowledge, subconscious patterns, building up characters, because if you think about it, every video game has characters and you have your own character as well, right? So it starts there. It starts there. You have your own character, you build up character, Masons build up character, right? So when even when you watch a movie, you read a book, it's all about the character development or the
Yes.
lack of
Yeah.
that. So I think immediately that's the connection to the spirituality, right? They are
Character.
doing what you already do, but using allegories, trying to explain something that we already did or somebody else did, and they learn from that, right? So, and but what does that mean? Because there is various ways to build character, right?
Yeah.
There is different states of being, there is different feelings, different names for that, right?
Hmm.
But we live in a system, right? Or the majority of the world lives in a system. You were talking about like how in DC they just care about work. That's a very good example of the system that we live in, right? But that's not the point. The point is that we live in a specific system with specific attributes, specific names, specific patterns, right?
Yeah.
And in most games, most movies, it will be those same features, but with different images, with different smells, with different tastes. But they came from the same
Mm.
space, they came from the same ideas. That's why Uriel Dolos he talk a lot about ghost writers. It's about that. It's
Yeah.
like they have five different movies with five different characters, but they all represent the same character.
Yes.
Got it?
Yeah.
Right? But that's the main point of it. But like I was saying, there is different ways.
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
so would you say that each character in the game is part of like the psyche of one person,
Not the
kind of?
psyche, because that's too
Okay.
personal, but
Yeah.
what they observed and what they learned and what they felt
Oh.
and what they were taught. Because most people that create art in those games, they are in certain positions and they took certain routes, they talk with certain people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can't go work to these companies right now. I can't go work to those companies right now. You know, you need to go through certain ways, shake certain doors, talk in a certain
Mm.
way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can start your
Put
own
certain
company.
characters aside to be part
That's
of
the
their,
point. The
yeah,
character, right? That's exactly. But
yeah.
to make this easier to understand, they also use astrology a lot. This it is easier to relate. For example, I use this example a lot because it's really really simple. On Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have the Pokemons in itself. They represent animalistic natures, animals, right? Most of them can speak. They are very reactive and they have powers and different typings, and that's what uh, uh, I don't want to like say a specific name because there is different groups of people that do this. But what
Mm-hmm.
they do is they quote unquote they, you know what I'm saying? Ooh, they. But what they do is they be like, oh, that person feels that way, or that person reacts in that way, and they give names and titles, and they organize. Oh, that's that type of person, that type of mentality, that type of
Mm.
animalistic nature. So that's what the types in Pokemon represent: different types of
Yeah.
feelings, different types of emotions, different types of states of being. And the people, which are the trainers, they represent people that have logic and skills of organizing, and they control their animalistic natures and they use them to battle.
Mm.
And battle is you expanding your perspective, expanding your business. You need to go out into the world and use your Pokemon, use your animalistic natures to battle, aka interact with others, people that also train their Pokemons. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the legendary Pokemons, which like big Pokemons, very powerful, and
Yeah.
they tap into the lore of the world, how the world was built, how the world was born. And in the fourth generation, because Pokemon is divided, organized into generations, there is Palkia and Dialga, right? And one is the Pokemon of time, Dialga, and the other one is the Pokemon of space, which is Palkia. And we can learn from the story because there is a lore behind those Pokemon, but also through their
Mm-hmm.
typings, because they are both dragon types. Dialga is dragon steel and Palkia is dragon water. And most people in the
Oh.
Pokemon community, they think, oh, dragon type is because it's a lizard. But they fail to realize that it's very esoterical because there is other Pokemons that are dragon types, but that they are not lizards. Because people think, oh, it's a
Mm-hmm.
dragon, and they think about movies, they think about all depictions of lizards with wings, or the Chinese dragon doesn't have wings, right? But the dragon doesn't mean that. A dragon means the most powerful body for a specific geographical location, right? So it means the most developed body, you
Uh,
know,
yeah.
the best suited body for a specific world. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah.
most,
The
we are dragons.
biggest, the
Yeah,
roughest.
we are dragons right now. Humans, the human body are, because we are the most developed. We can survive
Mm.
the best because we can build houses, we can be in groups, we can communicate, we can calculate. So we are the dragon of this world. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
what the
I
dragon
love
type
dragons.
means. Yeah, me too. I have a tarot deck, which is the Dragon Oracle deck, which is really cool. I really like to use
Oh,
that deck. Yeah, it's really nice.
awesome.
And most spiritual people are into that dragon fantasy. That's why they use that a lot in Lord of the Rings and other type
Yeah.
of culture. They use dragons a lot because spiritual people are attracted to dragons because they
Mm.
know they are. Because if you have the best body, it means your spirit is also the wisest or one of the wisest spirits around. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to create that body, right? So coming back
Yeah.
to
Because
Pokemon,
we
just to
create our
yeah,
bodies.
exactly. Yeah. So if you create a good machine, it's because you know how to do it, right?
Mm.
So the Pokemon of time, which represents Saturn, is Dragon and Steel, which is like consistency, limits, boundaries, right? And most people they actually
Oh.
they like Dialga. It's like, okay, it makes sense, but they don't like Palkia because they don't understand why Palkia is Dragon and Water, because space it's water, right? Stars are water. It's a type of, and it's not the water that we drink. Most people think, oh, it's just
Yeah.
water. No, it's fluid. It's something that's easy to change form, right? And water also represents Jupiter, or a more feminine Jupiter that rules fire and rules mutable water as well. So in those two examples, there are more examples, but on those two examples, we can clearly see that the people that create these characters, they know about astrology, they know about spirituality. They use the same
Mm,
words, or they use different words, but they use the same concepts. That, you know what I'm saying? And gaming,
yeah.
it's great because gaming is basically a simulation of the spiritual realm, because you can create anything and present it in a relatable way. You're not limited, or I mean, you are, but not as much
Mm.
as you like as you do in the physical realm. So I don't know if it was clear. Maybe it was too much. I,
Do you
I don't
think
know.
that gaming is good to teach kids like
Mhm.
patterns and
Very,
characteristics and
very
like
good,
morals?
because it's
Yeah.
entertaining. Because it's entertaining and it's rewarding.
But it has to be the right game.
Yes, yes. There is a lot of games. There's a lot of games that suck. You know what I'm saying? There is a lot of
Yeah.
games that lack that spiritual depth, right? But for example, not being biased, but I think Nintendo has great titles like Pokemon, Zelda, even Kirby. So they're a bit more esoteric, while like PlayStation and Sony, they go more with the shooters or the FIFA, which is like sports games, or they go very
Yeah.
much with uh, narratives that are more realistic. Like they use a lot trendy narratives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That
uh
already exist in the
yeah,
world
and they
versus
lack
creating
spiritual
them.
depth. Yeah, yeah. And while Nintendo is also bound to certain restrictions and limitations, but they put much more esoteric knowledge into their games, right?
Mm,
So I don't know if I have
okay.
answered your question clearly. If you want me
Yeah,
to
you did.
polish
I
that
got a lot
up.
of information. I learned a lot.
Okay, nice, thank you. So do you want me to talk more about that topic, or can I move to the next question?
If you want that, I
I
mean,
want
I had
actually,
another
yes.
question about
Go,
it.
go,
Yeah, I
do it,
mean, just
do it.
because for me, it's very important to be able to teach kids and put all of this super hard information so that kids can kind of find their own path
Yeah.
and use this kind of like as a structure. And do you see any like big patterns that you can say like, oh, this means that, and this would help somebody see this? Like any
Okay.
connection that you
First,
noticed?
first point, to address your care about teaching children, you have to
Yeah.
understand that with each generation, children get smarter, right? So imagine,
Yes.
I,
Yeah.
I imagine I made a video about astrology 2 years ago. Imagine, actually, I did. Like in 10 years, the children that have 10 years in the future, they will be way they will understand my video way easier than adults do right now. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because they get smarter and they start to understand things by themselves at an earlier age as well.
Yeah.
So
And they're born into the energy that is present right
infinitely,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was about to say that because you have to give them credit, right? You can't make it super easy. You can't make it super accessible, because you and I, we don't like that. We don't like when they spam us with content, when they spam us with learn. You should learn
Yeah.
this. You know, we don't like that, right? But we
Yeah.
like to learn. We like to bring the pieces together ourselves, right? So that's what we gotta
Hmm.
do. It's leave our message to children, but don't treat them like children, as in like we know they're children, but
Incapable of. Yeah.
yeah, don't treat them as an incapable beings. Like they're children, but they will grow up, they will create
Yeah.
mental faculties that help them understand. So first point. Then I think there is not a specific pattern, right? Besides patterns that come from animalistic natures, okay, the rewarding system, right?
Hmm.
The grind. That's why Pokemon is very successful, and Pokemon like games, because you grind, you create a team, you train, they evolve, they change forms, you give them items. So that grinding up, and then you beat the boss, or you beat the leader, or you do that challenge
Mm.
and you overcome that challenge, right?
Yeah.
So if you put the learning process in that process, and then they are rewarded after a tough situation, that they will come back for more. They will come back for more,
Yeah.
because that's how.
Rewarding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rewarding but difficult as well.
Yeah.
Rewarding, but not to not
Okay.
stupid levels of difficulty, because then it just
Not
doesn't
a
make sense.
simple reward that's so easy.
Yeah,
Like
no.
today, I know this is on the complete opposite spectrum, but like sex and everything that's so easily accessible,
Yeah,
it loses the value of it once it's all accessible
true.
to
That's
everybody.
true. That's true. And you, as an individual being, you have to create and retain that value yourself, right? And also, an advice, I don't know if you go through this, many people go through this, it's like we have to detach from the society perspective, because what we see on IG, what we see on YouTube shorts, or all people now don't value sex, that might not be true, because we have to give more importance to the people that we spend more time with. So the people around you, they might not even
Yeah.
think like that, but you think they do
Yeah.
because you read somebody else that today's society does, and it might not be true. You got to be really realistic. We got to be
Yeah.
really
Social
careful
media is an
with.
illusion. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be. Sometimes it's true, sometimes
Yeah.
it's not. It's just like everything else. You gotta
Yeah.
uh, put in your own individual perspective in that as well, right? And
Mm.
just to finish up
Okay.
with this media, um, spirituality, I just remembered a great example as well. I don't know if you watched this show, which was Lilo and Stitch. You remember?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great
I love
spiritual.
it.
Yeah, me too. I really enjoyed that as a kid,
Yeah.
because that's really really spiritual, right? Because I don't know if you remember, but it was about that little kid in Hawaii, right? And it even has
Mhm.
like the government trying to take her away from the family and shit. It's some real shit, right? And
Wow.
those monsters, they come in those balls, right? And
Hmm.
those little balls, they get activated when they come in touch with water, feelings, emotions, connections, dreams, illusions,
Mm.
and imaginations, right?
The
And
thoughts.
those monsters, yeah, 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 the things that come out of the water, higher animalistic natures, right?
Yeah.
They were just destroying shit, and they had nothing to do. And I remember very clearly that the kid Lilo, she would find places for those beasts to be in. Like, I remember very well this episode. It was like this monster that it could cut anything, and it was just cutting everything. So Lilo find a hair salon for that experience to work with, because that thing
Oh
like to
yeah.
cut hair, and that's what you gotta do. You got these feelings, this passion,
Yes.
this will to do something, and you gotta
Work with
find
the
the right place.
monsters.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta find the right place for that monster. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those monsters, they were created by this scientific genius from space, aka Aquarius or Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's a great spiritual example, Lilo Stitch as well. So let me go for the next question to you. So now that you are yourself a content creator as well,
Mhm.
involving spirituality, I don't know if are you making videos about astrology as well, or you plan on doing it?
Um, I like to make videos more on like the basis, like
Yeah.
foundation, and
Oh,
then, people that are good at the transits can handle the transits
okay.
because,
Just enough.
I like to focus on one thing and be good at that, and then I
Yeah.
can build upon that
Yeah.
instead of
The
trying to pretend that I'm good at everything.
true, and that's how it's done. That's how it's done.
Yeah.
Real building skills, real building skills.
Hmm.
So now that you are a content creator, how do you think, or it's more like first on your own way, and then in general, how do you think that we can bring more spirituality, or like how can we bring better these spiritual topics and astrology and spirituality and relationships? How can we bring a better, basically, information about that by us being content creators? Or do you think it's like a responsibility, like we have to do it,
Um, Well, everybody has their own journey, and not everybody has to be a content creator, but
Yes.
if you want to be a content creator, you have to deliver value, and you got to learn, like, you're not just in somebody's face for no reason complaining. That's not going
Yeah.
to be helping anybody. So you
True.
have to focus on value, and you don't have to teach. You can entertain, you can
Yeah.
share your point of view, but make sure that you're creating value for other people, that they can
True.
take that seed and take it to some other,
True.
garden and plant it.
Especially when it's about spirituality and astrology, because they are not real things. You can touch them. You can, yeah, you can't. It's so when you talk about create value, it's really
Hmm.
important because uh, you can show them, right? You can, oh, it's this. You can show them when you want to talk about toxicity. When you talk about, I
Yeah.
saw your video about moving locations or staying in a toxic location. Like you can show that to a person. Oh, that's how you do it. Hey, you go. You need to really bring them value so they can create their own notion and
Hmm.
see if that environment is good for them or not, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's
And
really
also
important that what you said.
creating a connection is important too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you
No, no,
off.
it's okay. No, no, it's okay.
But yeah, I think when you're doing content creation, creating a connection and knowing, like, you're speaking to somebody else, and us as people, we look outside in the world trying to find a representation of ourselves.
True.
And as spirits, we feel there's like this spiritual loneliness that exists once you
Yeah.
recognize, like, oh, I'm just a spirit,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
everybody here is just a spirit. And then you're just like, well, how do I connect? How do I? And then you try to, like, express yourself and hope that resonates in the world, and hope that somebody else can, like, make that connection.
True,
So
true,
when
true.
you're creating content, it's helpful to think, I'm speaking to a specific person, not just the
Yeah.
whole wide world.
Yeah. No, but that's why I think sometimes I'm talking to
Mhm.
everybody else, you know. But of course, I've been
Yeah,
learning with doing it, and I've come to that conclusion myself. But me naturally is being like that, you know. I think
yeah,
in more broad, worldwide ways. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's too much. Like it's too much for me
yes. It becomes
because
overwhelming.
I'm not the whole world. You know what I'm saying? I can see things in all those
Yeah,
different ways. You know what I'm saying? Great point. So you got another question for me?
I do. And it's actually kind of segueing into this same thing.
Perfect. Go ahead.
For you and your life, like, what are your personal, like, goals that you're trying to, like, achieve, and, like, your page and everything, like, where are you
Yeah.
trying to take everything?
So it's very about how I make it and not what I make, because my goal is to have financial security on my own way, right? Without
Hmm.
working a normal job. There is nothing wrong with that. I just don't want it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Create my own business and
You
like,
want to work for yourself.
yeah, but in my own way. I don't want to be like, because I really have a rebellious energy in that aspect, because people, you have to do it in this way, you have to be like this. No, no, bro, I have to
Yeah.
be myself. But because with that Aquarius telling, like we were talking earlier in the stream, I really have to be that example, bro. I have to show,
Hmm.
or I'm becoming an example to show to everybody worldwide, right? Like I was saying, that you can do it by being yourself. You don't need to be like this. You don't need to fit into that category. You don't need to follow the rules. You just gotta be yourself, work hard as yourself, believe in yourself, and make that and materialize that. And I am being, and that's like my ultimate goal. But that's too
Yeah.
spiritual. That's too vague, right? So how I want to
Mm.
achieve that is having my spiritual channel, being very successful, but once again in its own way. So that's why I don't invest too much into editing. I don't invest. I do that on my gaming channels. On my spiritual channel, it's like, bro, I have an idea. I take the phone or the camera, I record it, and if I
Yeah.
say some bullshit, I cut that out. If I, because sometimes I go too out of point, I cut that out. But the point is there. but
Mhm.
because I want that to be like really clean, really raw, to show others that you don't need to be a master producer, you don't need to be a cinematographer, you don't need to be this or to be that. Just take the
Yeah.
camera, do it, and with
And
enough
be
time. And
consistent.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the spiritual part. Also, I want to be a really good astrologer, but I don't want to, because I also have a video about this. I don't see myself as an astrologer. I don't see myself as a YouTuber. I'm just a person doing these things. So, and that also goes to what I was saying earlier. I don't want to be, oh, that guy is a YouTuber, that guy is an astrologer. No, I want people to look at me and be like, oh, that guy is something that we don't have a name for it yet, because he does
Yes.
paintings, he does YouTube channel, he does readings,
Yeah.
he speaks some real facts and some spiritual shit. Sometimes I don't understand, sometimes I do. You know what I'm saying? And basically, without like, this is really not uh, me criticizing people, because me growing up, I had to deal with this, which is like I have a perspective and people get hurt by it. But bro, I don't even know
Yeah.
you, okay? But I want to bring spirituality. No, I want to bring reality to spirituality, because I think it really lacks in the spiritual community
Yes.
a real perspective. And I want to be that, and I am being right
Yeah.
now that example of reality, bro. Like, we do these
Being the
spiritual things.
vessel.
Yeah, we are it, we are doing it right now. So that's the ultimate goal. Then I have some more businesses goals that I will not share right now, because
Yeah.
business, you know what I'm saying. But it's one of them. It's like bringing spiritual people together into the same place, you know what
Mm.
I'm saying, while making that profitable, but also making people do something in that space, that they can create content out of it. So they come
Yeah.
to that space, that is content, but what they do in that space is also content for their own page or for my page. That's one of the
Yeah.
goals. And then very big goals, which honestly I don't know if I'll fulfill in this lifetime, but just me thinking about it and believing in it already gives a lot of energy to my spirit and a lot of motivation. So those goals will be shared later when I'm closer to them. But right now
Yeah.
is making my pages as unique and original as possible. And actually, my gaming pages are helping me a lot to make my spiritual content more relatable, more acceptable, more
Yeah.
in the wave of the the masses, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm relying
Mm.
on only
It's
spiritual
finding
people,
that
yeah,
tool.
yes, and it's really helping. It's really
Yeah.
helping actually, because if I only count on spiritual people to watch my content, I'm a bit doomed, because we're like 1%
Yeah.
of the world, right? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and that's a good point because that's also a good point for spiritual content creators. There was a point that I was just creating like Pinterest that were just spiritual, just giving advice, just about crystals and their meanings and planets and their meanings. And people want, something else. Like you're not
Yeah,
just going to be just about like we watch Dolo, we watch Flight Boss, but we don't just watch him because he's just doing astrology. He does many other things. He's
yeah,
entertaining, he's funny. So you got to do it in your own way and
good.
find that little thing that you can use to like transmute and put the energy in that
Yeah,
so that it's not just you being spiritual and preaching all day.
yeah,
You got to
because
make it fun.
there is already too many preachers out there, too many preachers,
We
right?
got too many of them.
Yeah, too many. We don't need more. We cool. I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, and I think also Dolo, he's very real. He talks about spirituality. He talks about the Bible, and in the next breath, he shows you a real example, right? And
Yes.
with my
Yeah.
my Aquarius stellium, my Taurus moon, I have the right tools to do that as well in a different way.
Yeah.
I'm not Dolo. Dolo is not me, right? But basically, me
Yeah.
and him are doing the same thing in different levels, in different ways, which is and back in the day I used to say bring spirituality to reality, but it's the other way around. It's bring reality to spirituality, because we create
Mm.
reality out
They
of
got
the
to
spirit.
elevate.
Exactly, infinitely, I mean.
Yeah.
Because we create reality out of the spiritual world. So
Yes.
what happened is our reality got too far away from the spiritual world, and we gotta bring it back, bro. It's like, it's not too distant, it's not too different. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Yeah. but it
it's
takes
yeah,
being grounded in
yeah,
spiritual things, you know?
yes, yes. And every day I learn from little details in my day-to-day life by repetition as well,
Yeah,
because with my Aquarius stellium I get, it's not get bored quickly, but it's kind of in those ways, it's not as strong as bored.
yeah.
And I'm really
I
learning
think
how to see the little meaning in the little differences, and that really connects to astrology as well. Go ahead.
I think for you, for your Aquarius stellium with the Taurus, the information has so much to travel between
Yes.
Taurus being so grounded and Aquarius being so high up.
Yeah.
Maybe
It,
just, a lot of distance,
yeah, it
a lot
goes
of
through a lot
air.
of filtering systems. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But in the end of the day, I only fixate myself in some real information that not only I know it's right, but because of the Aquarius stellium, I also, I,
Hmm.
for me to believe in it or to get attached to that piece of information, I have to be able to explain that to somebody else while making sense.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I make sure that I do that to myself, and that's a great gift. That's a great gift that I brought from the spiritual realm. Actually, I'm very proud of that on myself. Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should be.
So you just asked me a question, right? Or it was me that asked you actually from
Yeah,
a,
yeah, I think so.
yeah. So um I have here more questions, but we have to cut some of these questions out because we're already 1 hour in. We don't want to make this too tiring, too exhausting, right? So yeah, we already touched on this point, but now I want you, if you want to be a bit more personal. If you don't want to, you don't need to. Just you can be more general. What you feel is a problem right now in the conscious woke community, and what I mean as a problem is like they talking about some spiritual shit and they making it not spiritual and not even real. You know what I'm saying? So what you think is like this topic or this way to go about things that you think it's a problem? If there is, you might have no problem, right?
Hmm. Well, I live in Miami, and here we meet a lot of people that are like content creators
Yeah,
or people that are business owners, investors
true.
that have the power, have the platform, and they use it in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I see.
So
Yeah,
the problem isn't in the spiritual community because I feel like even if you're saying the wrong things and you're at least trying to get there and you will get there. Sometimes they're just going to take a lot more time, a lot more experience, because I was a completely different person like last year and 2 years ago. So it just takes time and you transiting
yeah,
through the time.
yeah. True.
And
Saturn, you
the
know that.
problem is with the people that do have a platform and they're wasting it or they're just using it for the lowest hanging fruit because it's the easiest thing to make money out of.
Yeah,
We have to reach higher and teach people like the effort is worth it.
true, true. And that's a great point because usually on my videos and my streams, I usually say that people forgot how Saturn was because people are afraid of hard stuff. People are afraid of commitment. People are afraid of
Mm.
continuously, but in the end, it provokes the best reward or it gives the best rewards, right?
And you can't run
And
from Saturn.
you can't, and if you do, you're just hurting yourself, you're
Yeah.
just going nowhere, right? And you really touch that point because just because it's the easiest way to make money doesn't mean it's the right way, because
Yeah.
it's the easiest way in their mind because they are not even understanding the potential of the expansion. They are just relying on, oh, last year we made this much, so this year we can make around that. They're not even understanding if they really are spiritual and if they really are into this new shift and new age. Bro, even people from China will get connected to that. It's like crazy, but it's really hard for these corporate people to understand the potential of things, because for them to
Mm.
get into those positions, they had to not care about potential. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to be there, just to have that job, or just to be, imagine, even if you are born into a rich family, if you want some of that money, you gotta do what they told you, or your grandpa gonna take the money
Yeah.
away or something because you don't want to be a part of the company. Get out of my house. You know what I'm saying? So those
Hmm.
people, they are already in a specific character,
That makes
but
sense. They're already
yeah,
used to being already
yes,
like
and they were
pulled by the strings.
rewarded. They were rewarded, or they were punished. So they were rewarded by
Uh,
doing so, or they were punished if they wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
because like those, I don't know if you are around a lot of those people, but they go to certain meetings or certain dinners, and if you don't go, they already know that your family doesn't really count on you because as a kid you don't show
Yeah.
interest in the family business, or you didn't want to go talk with that person, and now they think you don't want to be a part of the family because they are really more into the real world. They are really more into the material world than into the spiritual world, right? But
Mm.
I think it's important, and I think, like, I don't want to be too go happy go lucky, but I do think that with time, more people that already have the position, they will start to understand, bro, I'm not really achieving nothing, right? Like, yes, I have this money, I have these connections, but in the end of the day, I'm still sad. My friends, they are
Yeah.
celebrities, they are famous, but they are not fulfilled. And I think, like, they will see people like me and you, and they will be like, they will be less attached to their position, because most people, they don't support other people because they are afraid of losing the position, they're afraid of losing their image, they're afraid of sharing
Mm.
their wealth. And I think most
They're
people,
afraid
or
of
more,
thinking differently.
yes, and they're afraid of being associated with people that think differently. And I think that's
Yeah.
starting to shift. There will be a time, hopefully sooner than later, that they will be like, bro, I want to be associated with that spiritual people, because,
Yeah.
bro, I'm tired of that old
I think
way.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that's happening right now, a bit slowly, because the
Yeah.
old ways were very sticky, the old ways were very sturdy. But I think,
Mm.
like, I have to confirm that more, but in my
Yeah.
perspective, I see more examples of, even on big companies, even on the area of gaming. There is like
Yeah.
more creative freedom. There is like certain patterns being broke that weren't broke in a long time. So I think people
Okay.
that are already in a position will be more open to be like, hey, bro, I'm in a good spot. You want to come here and make this spot more spiritual? Because this just
Yeah.
smells like old people in here. You know what I'm saying?
Smells like old fart clouds.
Yeah, we want some new fire clouds, though. So, yeah, but do you think it's possible you are closer to that? Because here in Portugal, we don't see that like big platforms. It's like platforms from America or platforms from other countries,
Mm.
that there is not a big platform that it's from Portugal or that is Portuguese. We rely a lot on social media, especially things from America have a huge impact over here. So we
Yeah.
see it from far away. We are not close to it, but you are. So you being more closer to it, do you see that opening right now, or you still think they too attached to the old ways, to the old gods? Hi
Um,
everybody, welcome to the
I don't
stream.
know. Hi everyone. Um, I don't know because what I see, maybe just where I am,
Hmm.
but I see just people being so stuck. Like maybe it's like the darkest before birth,
Yeah,
and people are really clinging so hard into those lower desires,
yeah,
and they're fighting for them, they're defending them, they're clinging so hard because they know that they have to let go of them.
yeah.
So I think
Through,
that's what I'm witnessing more is people
yeah,
just holding on to their low dimensional sides, and like people like
yeah,
us come around them and we trigger them.
yeah. True.
So
Just by being there.
yeah, just like our existence and us being like into our things and being free and being weird, that triggers
Yeah,
somebody that's in their low
yeah.
vibrational status. Like,
That's
okay.
true. That's true. Okay, but that's good
Yeah.
at least, because back in the day, I remember those people would not even feel anything, or they wouldn't show,
Yeah.
and now they got
Or we would
triggered.
be afraid to express ourselves, but
True,
now we're like,
true,
okay.
true. Yeah, we were like, oh my god, I don't want to look like this around that, and now we
Yeah.
just go away. Hey, what's up? And they be like, oh shit, this person is themselves. What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually a great point. We ourselves are being more of a vessel, or we are less afraid to show that because we always were. We were just not ready or not experienced, because it's very important to be experienced. Like, because usually people ask, "Oh, when you started your spiritual journey?" And I'm like, "Bro, since always, right?" But
Yeah.
I start I there was a time where I got more experienced, or I started to be more in that. And that's sometimes you already have the capabilities, but you are not experienced with those tools.
Hmm.
You already have the car, you have the keys, but you don't know how to drive manual. You just know how to drive
Yeah.
automatic. You know what I'm saying? That's actually very important. So, next question. Let's go. If you have any question for me, go ahead.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your take right now.
Okay. So you said living in Portugal, and
Yeah.
I visited Portugal a long time ago in 2016. And
Oh,
one thing
long
that I
time ago.
noticed about Portugal and like Europe and in general is that they're focused so much on tradition. And my family comes from the Caribbean, and they also are very like religious Catholic, focused on tradition to the point where I can't tell my mom anything that's against Jesus Christ because she thinks it's demonic. So
Oh, I see.
how do you, as a spirit being in that traditional space, how do
Yeah.
you manage that?
That's true. That does happen here, but people don't take it as seriously, right?
Hmm.
People go to church, but they don't really believe in it, right? People go to the funeral, but they don't really like care about the ritual, right? They go
Yeah.
and they eat the body of Christ, but they don't really have an intention behind it, right? So it, I wasn't very opposed by that, right? I
Yeah.
always found weird. I was a scout boy for a long time, and here in my location, you had to go to Sunday school in order to be a scout boy. In other places, you weren't
Wow.
required to. But the thing is, they couldn't teach us shit because we were always like making a
You're already
mess.
not accepting it. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, why did Jesus did that? That's dumb. And then they like trying to make us understand, and then they
Yeah.
couldn't. We just ended up playing outside and shit like that. But yeah, because people my age, we always, it never made sense to us, the religion, the religious mindset. Even my
Hmm.
friends that they were not spiritual, they were not into religion. There was only one friend that I remember, and that's because their parents were really crazy. They would even hold Bible meetings at their own house. That was some weird
Oh
shit.
my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, for an example, my parents, they don't like, when I was a child, they didn't enjoy me playing with the bread because they said it was an offense to Jesus Christ. But other than that, it's fine. They are not very religious imposing, right? But what you said was very true. When my parents were kids, like, their parents were very, very, like, you talking bad about Jesus, slap in the face, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But us, like, to my generation, I didn't experience that, right? So, but still, I rebelled against it. I left the Scout Boys because I
Hmm.
hated going to church. I hated because then they will make these rituals, which like simulating the Christ walk before he died,
Oh
simulating the life
God.
of
Yes.
Mary. And I'm like, this doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Fuck. And then if I
Why
didn't,
relive that?
bro, I was like, and no,
Yeah.
everybody's like, it's just how it is. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, no. And especially when I become more spiritual, because I was already talking with Daria and shit, and we're already coming to certain conclusions. And I was like, at that point, I was really like, nah, because then if you don't go to those religious ceremonies, you can't go to the campsites, you can't go to those big. I mean, you can go, but to some of them, and then people look bad at you because they go and you don't go, and they don't want to go too. It's some bullshit.
Hmm.
So I was like, bro, God doesn't make sense to me. I was even explaining to them some spiritual shit, like, God is just a title. Like, I didn't need to do
Yeah.
that, but I did it for me, so they know that I
Hmm.
know that we are in a ritual, that you don't know what's going on, but At that time I didn't know a lot too, but I knew more than them. You know what I'm saying? So I just
Yeah.
dipped out of that place. It just didn't make sense to me. That was the only time that religion got in my way, and it was basically me getting in religion's way. I went against it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And slowly it will die off, hopefully.
Mhm. But actually, on the past week, on the past moon quarter, there was the I don't know how I don't know how it's called in English. I will translate the world's uh, youth week or something, which is the Pope was here in Portugal in Lisbon for the whole week. The Pope and a lot of people from a lot of countries, they all were here in Portugal, right? The leader
Yeah.
of the Catholic Church, and I was hating, like I wasn't hating, but I was really like I was not enjoying that. You know what I'm saying? And you were talking about that, and now it's making because I kind of hate religion. You know what I'm saying? I don't hate people that practice it, but I hate religion in
Yeah.
itself because they most people think that religion is spirituality, and it's not. Religion is not
It's
spirituality.
the hypocrisy too.
True,
They
because
think
most
that
people
just
don't even
because they
believe that.
that little ritual that's it.
Yeah, and like I remember, like my mother was listening to the news, and I was with her, and there was this person. They're like, "Oh, how do you feel?" Because that person was organizing something in that event, right? And somebody was like, "How was doing this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's hard, but if you leave it in the hands of God, it's way easier." Bro, I got so pissed, bro. I got so like, bro. I was like, "This is some weak shit." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that sounds like my
No,
family.
yeah, yeah, I know, bro. I couldn't be a part of your family. They would expel me because I was like, "What the hell are you saying, bro?"
Yeah.
The only God in here is like you, as in quote unquote, right? It's in your hands. Don't trust God. God doesn't give
Yeah.
a fuck about you. You know what
And
I'm saying?
for me, like, I want to help the people that are closest to me first, obviously. Like, I want to bring, wisdom to everybody, but you want to help the people that are closer to you first. And it sometimes it's just so hard.
Yeah, that's actually
So, yeah.
very important because most people that start content creation, they try to reach the internet first, and they can't even talk about their content creation to their family, to their cousins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you can't do that,
That's
like
the
you were
biggest
saying,
battle.
yeah, if it is because you post a video, maybe nobody reacts, you have some comments, some likes, it's okay. But you go to the if you live with your parents, you go to the kitchen, your father is looking
Hmm.
at you, what the fuck are you talking about? You
You have
aren't
to
in
see
town.
them
Oh
every
yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah. That's the real battle. You're not for real. I went through that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Okay. Last
So
question
yeah.
for me.
No, you have one, or you want? I didn't understood. My bad.
For you, a question
Okay,
that I
go
have
ahead.
for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, for the single people of the Soul Group, how did you meet Daria, and what is your advice to like single people?
Okay, so me and Dad, it's funny because we had various encounters as growing up, right? And we
Oh, you
we
guys grew up together
not
in the
literally
same
like
town?
we weren't apart. Yeah, in the same town, we went to the same school because my town has two middle schools, and then everybody goes to the same high school together. Not everybody,
Okay.
because then you have a more professional school. So there is two high schools, one more academic and the other more professional. So we went to the
Hmm.
same. We were in different middle schools, and we went to the same high school. And actually, I don't know how, but we already knew each other from like being in the same town, being in the same surroundings. And then we meet up, or more like personally, because one of Dari was dating a friend of one of my friends. Because me growing up, I had this very fixed friend group, and then it expanded
Yeah.
on our adolescence, teenager years. That core
Hmm.
group of friends that like I had like 6 months, and I was in kindergarten with people that I still know and talk to right now. You know what I'm saying? And that group expanded a little
Wow.
bit. So one of those friends was with Daria's boyfriend at the time, and we got more closer through that. But we already knew each other. We already had some like we went to parties together. We already talked together. So we kind of
Yeah.
knew that we kind of knew that we were different, right? Because Daria always saw me because I was very active in my friend group. I was very like social, always going out. I was the first to get my driver's license, always going around, carrying everybody. What I'm saying, even Daria was
Yeah.
into that car too, always listening to music and shit, going to cool places. So we already knew each other, but not like very personally. And then like I failed math 1 year. No, I failed more than 1 year math, but I think it was in the first or second year that I failed math. Like my friends left, so I only had a couple friends, and Daria also that her friends left too the town, so we didn't have a lot of friends to hang on. So we started to hang on with each other, and then
Oh,
things. Then the rest is his history. We started to talk about some deep shit, talking about dreams, and then like she introduced me to like concepts like you are only alive because you died before, and I was like, bro, that's some real shit. I wasn't like, what? That's weird. I was like, bro, that actually makes sense because I was thinking in that way before. I remember being
yeah.
like 15 years old, chilling, smoking outside, and I was like, why people work so much to buy a car to go to their fucking job? Why people work so much to have a big house, but then they don't even have time to enjoy the house? I was already, and Dario was
Mm,
already artistic, thinking in a different way as well. Sometimes we got drunk together and we have some interesting conversations. So it was a build up. It was a build up process. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And then we
Familiar
got,
spirit.
yeah, and then we got together because of she was different, I was different, and we started to talk about spiritual shit. We started to conspiracy theories, but we never went like super deep into that. It was like,
Yeah.
actually, there is something else here.
Questioning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, questioning, and then I think it was 1 month or two we start dating. We see a Dolo's live stream, and that just brought us even more together because like, bro, the real
Oh,
shit.
I love that.
Yeah, some astrology and some real examples because we were like that too. Like I was already into astrology, but then I stopped because every fucking body had the same
Yeah.
examples, very general. Uh,
Yeah.
there is no real substance in that, and Dario was like that too. Like I like astrology, but that shit makes no sense. They here in this website they talk this about this, and then when we start,
Because it's
when we
their opinion.
yeah, it's not astrology. It's yeah, that's
Yeah.
actually very true. Yeah, that's they like, oh, I think Pisces are like this instead of like Pisces have this attribute and these characteristics. So when we found
Yeah.
that real example, we're like, yeah, it was a confirmation. You know what I'm saying? And then it was very natural. We were already attracted, spiritually, then mentally, and then emotionally, then physically. It was in the right order. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Nice.
And
Would
but
you
I,
say that your
so go ahead.
soulmates, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Would you say that your soulmates are twin flames?
None, none.
None? You
We
don't
are.
believe in it?
No, I don't. Because,
Yeah, because it has a
like,
lot of energy attached to it.
yeah, exactly. We have a spiritual ship. You know what I'm saying? We have a spiritual ship,
Mm,
and we both do our roles. We clean the rooms of the spiritual ship. We put
yeah.
fuel in the tank. You know what I'm saying? We clean the
Everybody cleans the
windshields.
room.
Yeah, we set up the shields. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? We make
that's
sure the
important.
autopilot is in the right way. And my advice is to build up. My advice to any relationship, especially a spiritual ship, is to build up, right? Because
Hmm.
me and Daria, even before we were on a spiritual ship, we being friends and getting closer and closer to each other was a build up from being very far
Yeah,
away to getting super close to each other, right?
you have to
And
go through transitions together.
yes, yes, infinitely. And me, bro, I
Mm,
have a Taurus moon, Libra rising, Mars in Libra, Venus in Aquarius. I never enjoyed how people around me created relationships because it was like we are in a party together, they hook up, now they are on a relationship. Bro, it's the other way around. Like hooking up, that's fine on the party, that's
yeah.
fine. Just don't start a relationship based on that, bro. It's the other way around. You get connected spiritually, then mentally,
Hmm.
then you hook up because then emotionally and physically. But you gotta build up something first, then you hook up. For a
That's good
relationship,
advice.
you know. And you were talking about that before, which is about building the progress.
Yeah.
Uh,
But you also have to apply that in your relationships.
Yes,
A
you
lot of
have
people
to.
think
Yeah.
relationships just work.
No, no, no. It's actually sometimes it's understanding that your partner couldn't do their work because they are still learning something, or
Mm,
because they are
yeah,
blocked on something. And as a partner, it's your responsibility to recognize the blockage and help with that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
because you're
Because
their
not,
support.
yeah. And like something that I really hate right now, and it really goes with what you said, it's your support. I don't like there is this thing right now where females like, oh, the man must provide, the man must do this, and then men are like, oh, the women must do that, the women must do this. And
Yeah,
in the real spiritual ship, that does not even comes to mind, because it's our money,
it's
it's our
natural.
house. Yeah, we
Yeah,
share the space spiritually, so we share the bills. And your business didn't do as much this month, okay, I got it. Oh, I did way more this month, I got it. It's not
yeah,
like you should do this. That's very important. You should do this, you should. No, it's we do this because we are in this situation, we have this energy, we have these blockages, we have this, we have that. It's not like you should do that because you are the man or because you are this. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I think that's a very the most important advice for relationships. And it's to just to finish, to make sure or to be less attached to relationships and look for spiritual ships. All right, don't
Mm,
let the outside world, money, bills, status, don't let that perturb your spiritual ship, because a spiritual ship is above that.
yeah,
You know, you might start living under the bridge, but if you are in the right spiritual ship, you guys will own a whole building. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is.
yeah.
So my last question for you, you're already getting
Hmm.
late. It depends. If you have a short answer, I have another question for you. But what
I
is
think I need to
the
go soon. My computer's gonna die.
okay? So last question, real quick. What is the
Yeah.
inspiration behind your name, behind your artistic name, Madame
Good
Asita?
question. Well, my name is not Madame Asita, but
Yes, but
I was just putting words together. And I was creating a brand. It was for scarves,
yeah,
for
okay.
silk scarves,
Silk scarf.
and I wanted it to represent me. And I wanted it to be like, madame, because a madame is like,
Yeah, in
somebody with
French. Yeah,
respect,
with class that
but
values
also with
themselves. Yeah,
class, and I'm older. I'm not, in my 20s anymore. So I don't I don't relate to like the young girls and like,
yeah,
the younger spirits. I feel like I have to take more of a leader role now that I'm
yeah.
older. So that's why I was like Madame Asita. But
Nice, nice.
sometimes it feels weird when people like call me that because I don't see myself that highly either.
Yeah, I see, I see. But
Yeah,
sometimes
but
that
a little
name
respect
makes
is
people,
good.
yeah, yeah, in course, in course. All right, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. To bring that, uh, to make sure that other people know that you know how to value yourself, right?
Yeah, I think I was going through a time where I felt like people were disrespecting me a lot, and
Yeah,
that's why I was like, okay, I need to stand on my thing
yeah.
now.
They were not meeting your values. They were not valuing you as you value yourself or as you think you should, and
I
it's very
think,
valid.
yeah, and people like for women, we just get perceived as something physical first, and then they're like, oh, she has a brain, she can actually, communicate.
Yeah, true. So that name
So
is kind of
yeah,
a protection spell, quote unquote, in a way, right?
yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
So, are we ready to finish? Are you
I think
satisfied?
so.
Are you? All right, so
Yeah, it was so
let's do
fun
it.
talking to you.
Nice. I enjoyed it a lot as well. I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed as well. Also, shout out to everybody watching the recorded version. All right. This might end up in Madame's channel. So, shout out to everybody in her channel as well. And I hope everybody
Yes.
enjoyed. I hope Madame Asita enjoyed. I hope everybody in the chat enjoyed. I had a lot of fun too. I
Thank you
think we
so
had great
much.
topics. I hope I didn't talk too much, because I can talk too much and make things a bit too scattered. I hope I didn't. And I hope everybody enjoyed, and I hope everybody got to expand a little bit that spiritual awareness. Any final words, Madame?
Uh, hmm. I just think that for everybody that's watching and listening, it's time for us to keep doing things like this and connecting with each
Yep.
other and discussing. And, we're not in the same location, but right now we're in the same location
Yeah,
and we're putting our
spiritually
heads
speaking.
together,
Yeah, that's true.
spiritually speaking. Yeah. So this is
We are in the
important.
same
And
space. Yeah,
thank you so much for inviting me because,
it's okay.
sometimes I feel like I'm by myself.
No, no, we powerful spirits. We know we are the only ones that can change this world. We know we have the responsibility, and that
Mm.
teamwork makes the dream work. You know,
And shout
we
out to
know that.
Daria.
Yeah, shout out to Daria too. Very
I
powerful
love
spirit
her
as well.
art. If you are into art, you need to be into Daria
Yeah,
because she is gonna
links down
be
below.
Soul Group's Michelangelo.
Yeah, bro, she already is. She already is. I
Yes,
gotta say. Links down below. She makes sculptures, paintings, clothing, web design, video editing,
jewelry,
jewelry. Um, she does all of
everything.
that, and with a lot of skill, bro. A lot of skill. I guarantee.
Yes,
I, I have
insane.
I have high standards. Venus in Aquarius, Taurus Moon. So I'm not lying to you. She has a lot of skill, guys. Check her art with the links down below. If you don't, you are missing out. You better believe it.
Yeah.
So until the next time, everybody in the chat,
Thank
Madame, as Drake Cloud
you.
Surfer, surfing out. See you
Thank
soon.
you.